Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Thank you all for joining us for this 2020 Create Change Info session. My name is Lady Sasha Jones, and I'm the Artist Engagement Manager here at the LP.
And I am Tiara Austin, the Programs Associate.
And we're excited for this year's open call and what we have in store for the upcoming cohort of fellows and artists in residence. During this info session, what we have planned is to take you all through our program guidelines and a few of the FAQs, as well as leave some space at the end to answer any questions you all may have for us. And I guess just in the meantime, if you have questions as we're going along, feel free to input them in the chat box along the side, and we'll definitely make sure to go through them at the end, okay? Alrighty, so we're going to begin. We want to begin by sharing a little bit about the LP and some of the foundational details about our organization and who we are. So the LP, for those who may be new or just now getting familiar with us and our work, our mission is to advance artists and neighbors as change agents in their own communities. We envision a world in which artists and neighbors and communities of color work together to unleash the power of creativity to transform their lives. And we do this by making sustained investments in growing a community of multiracial, multi-generational, and multidisciplinary artists and neighbors who are committed to societal change. And we do this by supporting their art making, their community building, and most importantly, their leadership development.
We are a values-based organization as well, and in the slide you can see the 6 values that really guide our practice. So they are to nurture creativity, to be POC-centered, to create change, value place, and to write our own histories. And lastly, to be propelled by love. So you can learn more about these values by visiting our website, and including the website also encompasses the 10 principles that sort of complement our POC-centered values. So as our values are at the core of who we are as an org and the way that the Create Change program is really structured, we do ask applicants to share which of the LP values resonates with them the most. So if you apply via our submittable page and you see those applications that we built out for you, you can see that question listed amongst the rest. And the question simply prompts an understanding of values, alignment, and engagement for our prospective candidates.
And here what you see is our theme for the 2020 program. So the Create Change artists and residents, both fellows and residents, will be working with the theme of practicing abundance. Abundance by itself was the theme for the 2019 cohort, and we decided to pull from what we learned and explored with that artist community and deepen our engagement with the 2020 cohort as well. You can read this statement in full on your own, but just to share what grounds this theme is a commitment to practicing abundance as a pathway to imagine more for ourselves and our communities. We will collectively explore the following questions. 1, what does it mean to make art and build community with abundance as a foundation? What does change look like if we are all invested in the advancement of POC artists and communities? How can we cultivate the resources, knowledge, and relationships needed for our communities to thrive?
So the 2020 Create Change program is really an invitation to learn and create within that cohort setting. So we do ask for your reflections on the theme of practicing abundance, and particularly our statement that Lady Sasa just went over and what it really means to you. So that's also going to be listed within the questions that we have. So we have also made a few programmatic updates to both the 2020 Fellowship and Residency programs. So the Residency is our flagship Create Change program that supports the development of a participatory and community-attuned creative project by allowing artists to really work within their community. So projects may take place anywhere within the 5 boroughs across various community sites, and this has ranged in the past from laundromats to urban gardens and playgrounds and community centers, just to give you a few ideas. So unlike previous years, the 2020 Residency is a year-long program that's going to run from January to December. So with the change in duration, so it was previously 6 months and now we're a year long, we have updated our program offerings as well. So Firstly, financially, the program offers a total of $20,000. So $15,000 will be paid to the artist as an honorarium, and up to $5,000 will be available for production costs. Secondly, the non-monetary support is really including the workshop trainings, coaching sessions that we might have with staff here, and a one-on-one mentorship component with an art professional, which is a new feature of the year. Cohort-wise, we are selecting 3 artist projects for the 2020 program instead of our usual 4 to 5 artists.
So for the residency open call, there's slight differences between both the residency and fellowship open call. Mostly you'll see that indicated in the key dates, particularly for the residency. The interview process is broken into a 2-step process, unlike that for the fellowship. So with the residency, what we're gonna do once the applications close on October 17 is that we, as a staff, we have an internal working group that's gonna create a long list of applicants who we will then conduct virtual conferences with between November 4th and November 13th. So if your application advances to that first round of interviews, you will be contacted to schedule a very short, no more than 15 to 20 minute video conference conversation with LP staff members. From there, a short list of applicants will advance to the in-person interview, which will be conducted with a jury panel of art professionals, and that day is scheduled for Saturday, November 23rd. Although we prefer for those interviews to be conducted in person and for that to be a live session, we are also open for folks if they need to take that virtually as well. We've done that in the past, so there's precedent of it. So either way works for us. The key items that I wanted to pull up with the application and open call process is that in addition to developing your project proposals and applications, there are really 3 themes that we're really looking at and looking for, or that the applications are shaped around. One is the aspects of community engagement and partnership that your project involves. We support projects that are collaborative and co-created in communities, so your application definitely needs to reflect ideas around building partnerships and strategies to build connections with the community or communities you're seeking to work with. Secondly, is the point of feasibility. We really want to know that you will be able to develop and initiate a project within a year timeframe. Although we do value process, we're excited to learn more about the kind of production and public facing ends of your project. And those questions will really, or we'll be looking for that evidence of that in the questions around your project timeline, your budget, and also previous work samples. And I feel like it's important to note here that we are open and we do support projects that are already works in progress. So if you already have a community engaged project or initiative or idea that is past a beta phase or is in its 2.0 life, we're also excited to support those works. So not only just brand new initiatives, but also works in progress. So make sure that a lot of that work, whether it's for this project proposal or past community engagement work, is also reflected in your work samples. The third is values and programs alignment, which Tiara spoke about a little bit before, but we really want to make sure that this is the right program for you and that this is the right time for you to be a Create Change artist in residence with the LP. And so there are questions that will prompt you to reflect on community wellness, experiences of bringing community members together, and your experiences of working collaboratively with your peers. And all of these short responses, we really want you to give thought to and provide, even though they are short responses, we want you to provide thoughtful responses as they weigh just as much to the panel as your project proposal.
And regarding eligibility for the residency, the key things are that you have to be at least 21 years of age, live in one of the 5 boroughs, not be enrolled in a degree-seeking program, have a creative practice that demonstrates a record of public engagement in your creative practice, identify as a person of color, and have a relationship with the community that you are proposing to work with. And so now we are going to switch on to begin to speak about the fellowship. So you should see that in a little bit come up.
And so the fellowship is, it's still, although we noted that there are some changes, it's still a program for artists and cultural producers who are interested in developing or deepening a collaborative, community-based, and socially engaged creative practice. It is grounded in rigorous theory and the practice of art making, power analysis, and individual and collective transformation. The program is shaped also as an intensive learning practice model. You'll see that indicated once we go to the program schedule, that the first half is really workshop theory based, and then the fellowship evolves into the more practice-based incubation model where fellows are prompted and invited to kind of test out some of the strategies and things that they're learning through the workshop series. So as I said, the program culminates in place-based team projects. Fellows, throughout the duration of the program, you'll be meeting with a roster of artists, activists, art professionals, curators, and change agents who all will offer diverse strategies for creating work at the intersection of art and civic action. The program, just to share, offers a series of about 6 to 7 workshop trainings, an opportunity to co-create a hyperlocal community activation. There are monthly coaching sessions with the coach, as well as professional development, networking building throughout the cohort-based program.
So next year, the fellows will develop models of cultural asset mapping that center the voices and histories of long-term residents, small business owners, youth activists, and cultural institutions. So this is really sort of thinking through how neighbors can reshape the cultural production and what it means to belong to a city or neighborhood or a block. What role does the commons play amidst urban rapid change, and what do POC communities need to thrive in abundance? So to the right of your screen, you can see some other guidelines that are associated with the fellows, or things that we're looking to build out, and that is up to 8 Create Change fellows will be selected to participate in the 2020 program. So the fellowship is open to artists, activists, neighbors, designers, organizers, healers, and storytellers, and cultural producers at all stages of the creative practice. So we're looking for artists with research and community engagement experience who want to explore strategies for entering and building within a community, using LP values and methodology as a foundational approach. So the fellowship is a 6-month program scheduled to take place February through July. And so it'll definitely incorporate aspects of things that I just detailed and outlined for you.
And so notes on the open call, the dates I'd like to highlight for the open call is really centered around the group interview and what that selection process looks like. That date is also scheduled to take place on Saturday, November 23rd. A short list of fellows will meet with the jury panel, one, to learn more about the program, but also to engage in a series of group interview activities that they will be reflecting upon, that the jury will reflect on afterwards. I will say that before the November 23rd in-person interview, you'll see reflected on the application that there is a field asking for a reference contact. So we may proceed with doing reference calls before inviting that short list for that group interview on November 23rd. So just be cognizant of that. We are not, unlike the residency program, we're not conducting a first round in person or video conference with fellow applicants. It just may be the reference call and then an invitation to participate on November 23rd.
So for fellows, and the eligibility to apply for the program, some key things to note are that participants must be at least 21 years of age, live in one of the 5 boroughs, not be enrolled in a degree-seeking program, demonstrate an interest or practice in socially and community engaged art. Be committed to working collaboratively with members of the 2020 Create Change cohort. So it's a group project, really have those teamwork and collaboration minded and skill set. And also have the ability to commit 200 hours to the fellowship. So that's roughly at least 150 hours over a 6-month period working with the cohort and community partners. And also 50 hours within that are going to be dedicated to the fellowship workshops that residents also attend, different programs and related assignments, which also incorporates a group work session that fellows will be able to come together and really think out the collaborative projects that they develop.
Okay, so the program schedules. I just want to start by noting that the dates that are indicated here are definitely subject to change as we are still in the process of confirming facilitators and other programming aspects of the 2020 program. So also these dates do not reflect the full-time commitment of the program. However, what it does reflect is the fact that we have shaped the program to include 3 monthly convenings, one of which is a full Saturday, which typically runs from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m., while the others are Mondays, Monday evenings to be exact, which are usually from 7 to 9 or 7 to 10, depending on the length of the workshop and/or activity taking place that evening. To kick off the program, you'll see that both programs begin with orientation on February 1st. That's a Saturday. And for residents, what is not noted here is that although the program kicks off with that February 1st orientation, we may be in touch for you to have your one-on-one meet and greet session with LP staff individually. One, to learn a little bit more about the program, for you to link with the internal LP community and staff and facilitators, as well as to sign any contracts and agreements and just to get things started before that February 1st orientation day. But the rest of the dates here are pretty much just the same outside of, I will pull out for the residents the one-to-one mentorship sessions. So the first half of the program, it kind of mirrors the fellowship program. However, beginning mid to late June through November, that's when the one-to-one mentorship sessions will take place. And again, as Tiara shared, this is something that is newly developed within the program. But all other things are pretty much the same. Whereas the fellowship concludes in July, we know that the residency will go on through December. The doctor's hours is a moment where we really lean into the professional development end of the program, invite about 8 to 10 arts professionals, curators, administrators, funders to come and meet one-on-one with the artist. And we developed that list after meeting you all and learning a little bit more about your practices and who you are and where you are with your careers. And then we pulled together as a staff a list of folks that we think would be really supportive and helpful for you all. The group work sessions that are indicated in the fellowship schedule are really times for the fellows to get together and develop and work on their projects. So that's why you'll see those kicking off more in the May through July phase of things to really support fellows with finding that independent time to develop their culminating projects and culminating community activations. The other things that are the same are the coaching sessions. Those usually take place once a month with our cultural organizing coach, who is really there to conduct group coaching sessions with you all. So those won't be individual one-on-one sessions, but group sessions. So there'll be a group session with all the fellows and then a group session with all the artists and residents. And that's about it. Again, this schedule is subject to change, but this is a really good picture and overview of the flow and rhythm of the program.
Yeah. All right, so next we're just going to go over some of the FAQs that are listed in the guidelines that are available on our website. So the first one is that artist collectives and collaboratives are encouraged to apply and should select one member to submit the application on behalf of the group. And you can see that within the application that we've built out some directions if that gets a little dicey in terms of that one person just sitting down to submit the application, but we asked you to list the names of the folks in the collaborative. Second is that applicants currently enrolled in degree-seeking programs are not eligible to apply for the Create Change program. And this is really just in response to the fact that it is a time commitment that we're asking folks to commit to, and we acknowledge that, and yeah, so it's just from thinking through the ways that folks can finish their program strong. And next, the Create Change program is open to artists of all creative disciplines who are interested in community-based art making, and so this really ranges from visual artists to chefs and performance artists, right? So really expanding the ways that we're thinking through the creative disciplines. So you do not have to identify as a person of color to participate in the fellowship program. However, the residency program is for artists of color, and both programs work exclusively across communities of color. So I think that speaks for itself. And next, artists and residents can propose to develop a project across any of the 5 boroughs. And so fellows also will work in one anchor neighborhood. So just kind of juxtaposing those two things. The artists and residents we're thinking of, again, Lady Sasha mentioned folks who are in relation to that community that they're thinking of working within. And so that, of course, can span, and where you're living and where you're in community can vary. But we're thinking of the fellowship as really a place-based sort of model, right? So the fellows are working together, working in a community and thinking deeply as they do so within that one anchor neighborhood or anchor community, so to speak. Yep. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them into the comment area or the chat box on the right of the YouTube channel. And you can also contact us with any questions. You'll see our contact information pull up on the screen shortly. So any questions you have at all about the open call process, you can send to apply@laundromatproject.org, and we will attend to them, either Lady Sasha or I. And again, we'll just stay on the line for a few more minutes to see if any questions come through.
There are 2 notes I wanted to share regarding the FAQs. One is around, I should have made this a little clearer, but around the artist collectives and collaboratives, they're only eligible to apply for the residency program in case folks had a question around that. And what TR was really getting at with this last FAQ point around the artists and residents being able to propose and develop a project across any of the 5 boroughs. They are also able to propose projects that are in connection with the community of affinity. So in the past, we've had projects that worked with Senegalese food markets or Senegalese restaurateurs in Harlem. We've had projects in the past that worked with queer femmes of color. So those are projects that reached communities across the boroughs, not just being place-based, whereas with TR was pointing out that the fellowship itself really is situated within a place-based model. It's not working across communities of affinity as the residency program is. Anything else we can pull up? Alrighty.
Okay. So again, you can send your questions, if any at all, to apply@laundromatproject.org, and we will attend to them. Thank you so much for listening in to our session, and I hope you have a great night.
Bye.